Predictions for the weekend's games coming up. We've already had one down, so let's look ahead to Sunday, and the early kick-off there is Manchester United versus Nottingham Forest. Kaz, let's start with you.
2-1 Man United.
What do you think?
Say why?
Yeah.
Man United at home, maybe the Carrick situation might be done and dusted. Nice vibe at the football club. Send off a few senior players. Yeah, I think it'd be a good vibe at the club, and I think Forest obviously disappointed after not getting to the final. So I think Man United win.
I am going to look at the past when interim managers have done so well, and as soon as they sign that contract, then they start losing games. 2-1 Nottingham Forest.
Do we know if he has signed the contract, or is there just an agreement?
Well, it's on the ticker tape on a lot of TV sites, so he will possibly have signed by Sunday.
OK, next up is a London derby, Brentford versus Crystal Palace. Let's start with you.
Oof.
I think Brentford's season has been magnificent for everything we've kept saying, and Aston Villa spoiled it, didn't they, against Liverpool, about thinking about other competitions, but I think there is definitely a case in Palace with the depth of squad or lack of depth of squad that they will be focusing on other competitions, and Brentford will take advantage of it.
I think that's right. I think they'll be focusing on something else. So I think Brentford win 2-0.
Everton Sunderland.
That's tough. I think 1-1.
I'll go 0-0.
OK.
Two great defences, two great goalkeepers. 0-0.
What about Leeds Brighton? What have you got for that one?
What did I just say? Brighton were fantastic. I love Leeds because my grandparents are from Leeds, so I'm going to go all out. Leeds win this one, knowing that they don't have to win the last game of the season against West Ham. So
these predictions are just based on feeling and family ties.
Yes.
Listen, we have an audience who support their Premier League teams based on feeling.
Leeds at home, I said established, physical, aggressive. I fancy a 1-0 Leeds.
We have 30 seconds left, so we're just going to do scores after this. Wolves Fulham.
1-1.
2-0.
Newcastle West Ham.
0-1.
Yeah, I'll go 1-0.
Arsenal Burnley.
2-0.
5-0.
Bournemouth Man City.
2-1.
Well, Arsenal are closing in on a first Premier League title in 22 years as they face Burnley at the Emirates. Next year are the managers.
Well, the team is really present. It's just is living the moment. It's emotional, a really good state. I think the energy level is the right one. We have most players available now. Okay, we lost Ben the other day, but the other ones are coming back as well. So yeah, and everybody obviously is so enthusiastic and so positive about the way that we can finish the season.
I think you've got to look at it as an opportunity as well to go, one, to be involved in a game like that, two, to be really be excited about that, and it's a platform to then go and perform. We can't influence everything that's going on around it and all the noise about this game's coming up. But what we can do is make sure, like we did against Villa, it proved last week that we were still taking the competition really seriously, and that's what we'll do.
This is an absolutely huge one on Monday night for Arsenal. They've just come off a huge one, which was at West Ham. What did you make of the mentality of the grit they showed to win that game in controversial circumstances at the end?
Yeah, but I think if you're not up for it and you're not motivated to try and win that game, which of course they were, then they shouldn't be in the position that they're in. And credit to them, they found a way, because West Ham were putting everything in front of it. This is a team that's fighting relegation. They had to try and find a way, and credit to Arsenal, they do. And at this point of the season, and teams that might go on and win Premier Leagues, I don't think they're playing free-flowing football. I think it's about getting the job done, all because of teams they're up against, like West Ham, who I mentioned, are in relegation fights. So you've got to find a way, and like I said, that they did in the end.
Yeah, I think they are playing the season superbly well. They don't have to win 3 or 4-0 against relegation fodder. They just have to win the game. The controversy, which I think we might see towards the end here, it doesn't matter because it was a foul. It wasn't a situation that should have been something else. But 1-0 Arsenal, boring Arsenal. I think that's how they used to win the Yeah, it's a wonderful save by Raya there.
How do you rate his performances this season and his importance in what is a title push?
Fantastic finish. He's done what he needed to do at big moments. The clean sheet, I think it's 18 clean sheets, one in every 2 games. Yeah, what's interesting here, there is a part actually where Raya gets underneath Pablo's arm, so Pablo couldn't move his arm. But I think in the end they got the right decision. It was a foul and therefore Arsenal deserved to win. But going back to Raya, I mean, there's been plenty of games this season. I can't name them the number off the top of my head, but I think it's probably about 6 or 7 where he literally hasn't had a save to make. That's how good the team is in front of him. But when he's been called upon, like the big save he made there against Fernandes, he's answered that call and thoroughly deserves to be in a position to possibly win the Premier League title.
There's been big criticism of Arsenal in the last couple of seasons, especially when they've been finishing second. Their mentality, they haven't quite been able to get it over the line. Games like this in seasons before may have, and we've seen them being tripped up by West Ham in seasons before. Does this show that they are much closer to the mentality of champions?
Well, only know until the end, till they lift that trophy. And it's true, though. I mean, the only reason why people question them, we question them, is because they haven't lifted it yet. Yeah. And once you do, you go, oh, but last season they lifted it. You know, we're only questioning it because it's not been in their hands yet. And I think all the nerves in that conversation will die once they have it. They've added significantly to their squad. They've learnt over the last couple of years, sometimes you have to go through experiences. You've got to understand that this is a big moment. This is a significant moment. I think they've done that. And again, they're on the verge of winning a double, Champions League final as well. So, but I think they've got an unbelievable squad. And that is a lot of credit to Arteta, to putting that squad together, that there's 2 players of high calibre in every position, that when someone comes in, the other one just takes the team up to another level. And I think that's something that you have to applaud them for doing that.
A little bit of issue at right back now with Ben White going off injured in that game. It was interesting to see Arteta move Declan Rice there.
I don't think there's an issue. I think they could put anyone there against Burnley and still win the game. I think that's how good they are. They don't, as I said, they don't have to win 4-0. They just have to win the game. The one thing, just touching on what Karen said there, I think the difference between this season and previous seasons has been the manager. His emotion post-match, pre-match, during the match in previous seasons has been evident for everyone to see, whether it's high or low. And I think he's been so calm this year, and I think that has gone through the team as well. Where they've made mistakes, players just carried on. And I mean, Declan Rice is a prime example. Makes a mistake, doesn't fluster, laughs to a little bit, if you like, and then the team go on and win the game afterwards. So I think the temperament of the manager has definitely spilled into the players, and that's why they look so calm at the moment.
Yeah, you mentioned Declan Rice there in the conversation, obviously, for player of the season. Where do you guys think he ranks, and how do you rate the season he's had?
He's been unbelievable. I think the moment for me that sums Declan Rice up was when he was on his knees and they just lost to City, and he said, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. Because he's got a mentality and a spirit and a heart. I don't think I've seen... His work rate is unbelievable. And that is just drives through the whole team. When you've got someone like that just puts their body on the line every single time and has that big passion. I haven't even mentioned his technical ability. He's got it all. He really has, and he's worked at it and improved so much. And they wouldn't be where they are without him.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think when he signed from West Ham, and it seems ages ago now, there was a question mark on whether he was going to improve Arsenal. I think this season we are seeing the best of Declan Rice. In answer to the question, is he player of the season? No. It's difficult to compare.
Who's yours?
Yeah, who is your player?
Top goal scorer?
Haaland.
Erling Haaland, yeah.
This is Declan Rice's numbers for the season before we get on to your player of the season. 35 appearances, 5 goals, 4 assists and 63 chances created. That doesn't really sum up the season that he's had, because you talked about his work rate, his
distance covered's not on there, that's
distance covered, which is, it must rank right up there.
I mean, yeah, and the perfect example is the block you saw where he's chased a player 3/4 length of the pitch, so David Raya doesn't have to make a save. These things don't necessarily come out in numbers on a graph, but what they do is let the rest of your team know that he is giving 100%. Yeah. And again, that's sort of indicative of what you've got on this Arsenal side at the moment.
Let's talk about that defence. of Arsenal? Because, you know, the number of clean sheets, another 1-0 victory in the West Ham game that we mentioned. And, you know, we've already talked about the goalkeeper, but what about the players in front of him, especially that duo at centre-back?
What a save. That wasn't a defence, that was a goalkeeper. This is wonderful. The last team that I can think of in a position at Arsenal who defended like this was Chelsea. The likes of John Terry would throw themselves on the ball and get the blocks in. I mean, last-ditch tackle, stuff like that. Again, that stops David Raya having to make a save, and everybody's in this to win it. And I just think the defence they've got has been superb.
And they're quick, they're strong, they're physical, they're aggressive, they put their body on the line, but also they're brilliant in the opposition penalty area to get set pieces and goals. That's a massive part of their game as well, and they're colossal, the two centre-backs at that. The spine of the team, the goalkeeper, the two centre-backs, Declan Rice, just that spine there. And they're an off-the-ball team. Arteta has always been, we defend first, we'll be hard to beat, and we'll get the goals, or the opposition will make a mistake. And they've just grown confidence on that, and they're amazing.
Yeah, least amount of shots on target against, half of what Burnley have faced this season. That's because the defence is so solid.
You were so confident, even with the right-back issues, that, you know, they ought to beat Burnley. But if you look at it, and if you look at it in the scheme of things and what's on offer for Arsenal, if you cannot beat Burnley, then you really shouldn't be deserving of a title or in the talk for the title. What could stop them on Monday?
Them thinking they've already beat Burnley before they go on the field. But I can't imagine for 1 minute that they will be allowed to think that this game is already won. I can say that confidently here on the chair, but